Hi guys, Venturous Allotment here. This video I'm going to talk about the weather potential for January. Obviously it's been very mild recently. We've had temperatures, the other day the temperature reached 14 degrees. At night it's been above 10. It's really been quite mild. There's been no frost for a good few weeks. Which is what we've come to expect in late December of recent years, and in more broadly recent winters it's been mild, with the occasion where we've had like a few weeks of quite hard frost, like last December, early December. But what I'm starting to see, because I used to be a weather forecaster, you see, I used to forecast the weather, so I'm always really interested in how weather patterns are doing, what's going to happen. And of course, growing these things, it goes hand in hand. Arguably one of the reasons I got into this in the first place is because of my interest in weather and climate. So like, I was trying to not just to eat some great fruit and to try some different fruit and unusual fruit, but also to really push like boundaries, see what we could actually grow in our climate, especially when we're all conditioned to think that we can not grow anything that doesn't come from the Arctic. Basically, it would seem that way for a lot of people, but actually believe that. But so basically, what we're having at the moment is the polar vortex. Probably something people have heard from a few years back when the US got hit by this polar vortex, and it was big news around the world because of how cold and how snowy it was in many parts of the US. Well, polar vortex has been affecting us, but it depends where it's situated. It's been situated to our west and north, so somewhere over western Greenland has been the centre of it. And what that's done is that's pushed in southwest, south southerly winds, which are really mild, and pushes up the Azores high as well, which is another factor. So we've been getting really mild weather conditions with no frost, not much snow outside of the northern parts or the high ground, and so it's been quite comfortable, and we haven't had to worry, apart from like earlier in December when we had that frosty spell. But other than that, it's not been bad at all. Things might be about to change though, as they are forecasting what they call sudden stratospheric warming, which is a warming high up in the atmosphere, and that usually means the cold air gets trapped in between the layer between the upper atmosphere and the lower atmosphere, and depending on where that's set up depends on the sort of conditions that you might expect in January. So what it's showing now is that the polar vortex will split in two due to this stratospheric warming. What that means is that part of the vortex will be moved eastwards and part will be moved westwards slightly compared to the centre now. And that means we're opening potential for some really cold weather in January. And I say this on the pure example, it's purely to help people prepare, like that there might be cold coming that will potentially damage plants. I mean, it's easy to think we've got away with it, it's so mild at the moment, but I think it's important to stay alert, because we do live in a country where you can be stung by the weather at any moment. So it does look, unfortunately, like we are going into a cold phase, and it will be the sort of cold that does cause damage, potentially. So if you can get your heads up and around that, you can prepare, then there will be no problem. So yeah, we don't really know anything about it at the moment. It's just a broad signal. It's a very strong signal. It would seem that it's very likely to be a cold mid-January to late January at least. Even a few weeks to a month of very cold weather is a potential. Far cry from what we've got at the moment, and that might upset a few plants, because as I showed you with my bananas in the last video, they are starting to grow again. And a lot of plants will not be dormant yet. So that's the heads up, really. Expect cold in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and but if you're ready, there's no problem. If you're growing stuff that isn't going to be affected by cold, again, there's no problem. But you know what the nature of this is. exotic plant growing, exotic fruit growing, the nature of it is that we grow more tender stuff that is susceptible to cold damage. So take the heed. I wouldn't worry about it. It's just what it is. It's part and parcel of living in this area of the world. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and try not to worry. It's not a big thing. I'm sure we'll get over it and get through it like we always have, right? So yeah, stay warm, stay happy, and hope you have a great period over Christmas and New Year. Thanks. See you later.